Living Corporate is brought to you by The Break Room. Have you ever felt burnt out, depressed, or otherwise exhausted by being one of the onlys at work? You know what I'm talking about. Hosted by Black psychologists, psychiatrists, and PhDs, The Break Room is a live weekly web show in the Living Corporate network that discusses mental health, wellness, and healing for Black folks at work. Name another weekly show explicitly focused on mental health, wellness, and healing for Black folks at work. I'll wait. This is why you got to check out The Break Room, airing every Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on livingcorporate.tv.
What's going on, Living Corporate? It's Tristan, and I want to thank you for tapping back in with me as I provide some tips and advice for professionals. Today, I want to dive into part 3 of creating content on LinkedIn. Last week, in part 2, we talked about the final prerequisite to posting engaging content on LinkedIn, which was developing a compelling and engaging profile. We discussed which sections of the profile you should focus on and a few tips to get you started. This week, let's touch on the types of content you can create and a few tips to help drive your engagement. There are numerous ways to engage your network on LinkedIn. First is text-only posts. These are exactly what they sound like, posts that only include text, hashtags, and emojis, but nothing else. There is a limit of 1,300 characters. These type of posts are best used if you have a specific topic that can be covered in short form. Develop an engaging first line to grab attention. Break up the text into digestible pieces, and try to use emojis to make your post more visually appealing. If you're planning on adding a link, I would suggest leaving it out of your post and putting it in the comments for people to access, as LinkedIn's goal is to keep users engaged on their platform, so including it in your post could impact your reach. The next form of content is LinkedIn articles. Less than 1% of LinkedIn users have published an article on the platform, but it's one of the most straightforward ways to share your expertise and thoughts. There's really no length requirement here. If your article is short, try to keep it snappy and impactful. If it's long, try to provide in-depth analysis of a particular topic. The data shows that most articles that fall on the middle ground of about 400 to 600 words don't appeal to many audiences, so try to stick to one end of the spectrum. While sharing your expertise, try to incorporate context and a little personality to connect with people reading. Finally, focus on sparking a conversation. Yes, sharing your expertise is great, but remember, we're here to get others to engage with us. Next are native videos. One of the best and most engaged with content formats that boost your reach on the platform are native videos. These videos autoplay on people's feed, which helps grab attention and increases the reach of your content. These are great for explaining slightly more complicated points in a digestible fashion. Make sure your videos aren't too long, include subtitles since most people scroll LinkedIn with their sound off, and make sure your video and audio quality are good. The last form of content I'm going to touch on is LinkedIn Stories. These are fairly new and are an emerging content area on the platform. Similar to Snapchat, Instagram, and Facebook, this is short-lived content that only stays posted for 24 hours. Stories are a great way to showcase a moment in time instead of some really profound statement or insight. There are a few more forms of content such as polls, documents, and text plus image posts. While I'm not going to touch on them here, don't be afraid to check them out and leverage them if you think they may work well for you. In the next part, we're going to touch on the metrics you should keep an eye on to assess how well your content is performing. Thanks for tapping in with me today. Don't forget, I'm now taking submissions from you all on career questions, issues, concerns, or advice you think may help others. So make sure to submit yours at bit.ly/tapintristan. This tip was brought to you by Tristan of Layfield Resume Consulting. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Layfield Resume, or connect with me, Tristan Layfield, on LinkedIn.